Hi, my name is Jim Prues and welcome to this week's World 5.0 Weekly Update. Our lead today, taxes. Every year at this time of year, we have to reconcile our financial situation with the government and pay our fair share of taxes. Three big considerations that comes from considering taxes though. First of all, who's paying them? Secondly, how is it being used? And third, how efficient is the process? Presumably everyone above the poverty line pays taxes. Individuals, small and medium-sized businesses all enjoin to keep the country afloat, doing our part as responsible citizens. But what happens to our biggest money makers, the corporate behemoths? Funny you should ask. They lie and cheat and buy our government so they don't have to pay taxes. It's a really nice situation. Bank of America, with a whopping 82% of its 2011 and 12 revenue coming from the U.S., declared $7 billion in U.S. losses and $10 billion in foreign profits. Exxon, GE, Comcast, and other monsters pay nothing like what they should, using their fancy lawyers to make up terms like theoretical taxes and hypothetical amounts and shit we would go to jail for. But of course, the CEOs of these huge corporations are too big to go to jail. Overhauling our tax code, taxing labor and investment at the same rate and applying the same principles to everyone is obviously the path to saner tax policy. Obama has spoken occasionally of a grand bargain with the Republicans on financial policy moving forward, but this seems to be just an excuse to promote even more regressive fiscal policies like cutting Social Security. And it's really hard to imagine a more inept or corrupt Congress. It's on us, folks. So what about how our taxes are spent? 2/3 of it go to the gods of war, the Pentagon and its contractors, Homeland Security and its contractors, the war on drugs and its contractors. There's a pattern here. The overruns in our defense spending alone would be the third biggest military in the world. Shit's way messed up. People all over the world want peace, want to get along, and want to be able to experience and enjoy their lives as peacefully as possible. But governments, paid off by huge contractors like Lockheed Martin and Boeing, love to promote war. Imagine what our world could be like with just this one substantive change. No more war. No more bombs and bullets. No more killing and maiming. No more violent answers to disagreements. And think of how much good could be done with that money if we weren't spending it all killing each other. Food, research, health, environmental remediation. Endless possibilities. And finally, what about the return on investment? There is not a business in the world without an eye on return on investment, and yet politicians and pundits keep banging on the big government, small government debate as though that's the most important thing. And surprise, that debate just muddles the argument. The question is, what do we get in return for what we spend? And the answer is we get screwed. The weight of bureaucracy in Washington, state capitals, county and local administrations is crushing. And every citizen that pays attention knows we don't get what we pay for. Here's the kicker. Our tax system reflects our whole financial system. The largest corporations are too big to fail and too big to jail. The middle class is paying way more than our fair share for services, and we're ripped off monthly as a result. And for those at the bottom of the food chain, those brothers and sisters that need help temporarily or permanently, their service structures are poorly designed and even more poorly administered. What we know now is the old culture is clearly unsustainable and corrupt, and we need to migrate to the new culture of localism, ethics, and the recognition of us being here together as quickly as possible. Bring it on. By the way, that Arkansas oil spill, over 500,000 gallons we now learn, and even more spills since then. One in Texas already spewing over 30,000 gallons. I'm telling you folks, they ain't gonna learn till we teach them. Stan Chesley, one-time hotshot lawyer who hung with the presidents, has been disbarred from the state of Kentucky and has been asked to leave the UC board by a group of 12 current trustees. I don't hold any personal ill will towards Stan Chesley, but it is kind of fun when an elite finally gets prosecuted for bad behavior. Normally they reserve that stuff for folks like you and me. Well, that's our show. Thanks for being here. As though we could be someplace else.